This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Thanks for hanging out with us. What a crowd up in Duluth, by the way. That's awesome, the support that our morning show crew got this morning. Terrific show, terrific vibe. Love Duluth. And you know what? Celebrating greatness. And I think Duluth would fall into that category. But celebrating greatness as we kick off a Friday morning, and I must start on the local side of things. It's Byron Buxton yet again.
And Buxton launches to left field and deep. Back it goes. Second deck and gone. He does it again. He's homered now in all three games. Back-to-back leadoff home runs. And the Twins with that buck truck already a sighting here in Cincinnati. It is 1-0.
The Buck Truck, Byron Buxton yesterday. You heard it there. Thank you, Corey Provis and Twins Television. I mean, everyone's hurt right now on the team. It feels like everyone's slumping. Everyone wants the owners to sell. But then there is Byron Buxton. If Byron's going to keep spotting you a run every single game, you're going to be in good shape. All part of the losing skid ending yesterday in Cincinnati. Cody Clemens in the second inning. He goes yard. Jeffers is on. But, of course, Byron then refuses to be upstaged.
Now Buxton, can he do it again? You bet. This one carrying. This one is back, and that is gone. Byron Buxton, 2 for 2 home runs. The Twins go back-to-back. And the helmet that was briefly on Cody's head, it needs a new noggin. 4-2 Twins here in the second.
I think we speak in time as BC and AD. That's how we may look at it. Well, we can look at Byron as being BC as in before concussion and PC as in post-concussion and living in modern times. I mean, Byron Buxton, these 16 games PC, he's hitting .328. I mean, the dude's slugging in the sixes, 1056 OPS. Celebrating the greatness of Byron Buxton. And you heard it again there in that highlight. Again. You heard it in the highlight there that he's now gone back-to-back with the leadoff home runs. And I think he's homered in all three of these games in the series. But then you hear the back-to-back moment, Cody Clemens into Byron for the second one. The whole thing's negative right now. It feels that way with the team. And I get it. But Buxton is worth the ticket to ride. And as I noted, PC, in these 16 games, he's proven every bit of that. So the losing skid stops and everyone gets to smile for at least an afternoon. And now we come home to hammer the Brew Crew. Other bits from that game, by the way. Man, we need it from Ryan Jeffers. We got 4 RBI in yesterday's game from him. Need that. Need Carlos Correa. He was 3 of 5. And he's creeping up the charts slowly, but surely. Need Correa. But how about Willie Castro, by the way? Took 3 walks yesterday. Now, I know, including this weekend. Thank goodness for the 2 1 p.m. games, by the way. Depending upon, well, maybe not, thank goodness, given the heat situation this weekend. We'll see. I know you go to the park to see Buxton and Correa and hopefully Royce Lewis again someday. But your team competes and stays in games, I think, because of guys like Willie Castro. And he was good yesterday. So you love seeing all that. You're racking on 12 runs. You're struggling to score. You're begging for offense. You got a fair amount of it in an explosive output yesterday. Chris Paddack, though. Chris Paddack, he goes 5, and that's the way I've looked at Chris Paddack in 2025 is Chris Paddack is erratic. Chris Paddack makes you kind of hold on to your seat. Chris Paddack makes you rely a little bit on defense. Chris Paddack has you uncomfortable at times. And a little bit of that yesterday. I mean, he goes 5. We like that, I guess. gives up 4, only 3 Ks, including, I believe, the home run that he conceded. But hold on. When you get 9 runs of support in the first 4, Paddock gets W's. So working in concert, working together. It's a beautiful thing, really. And the Twins getting that W, beautiful thing. Now, we are not far removed from a stretch where we were pounded for 16 runs by the Rangers. You win the next 6-2. Okay, back on our feet again. I didn't do a montage. Can't play real music. Terrorism. But then you proceeded to get shelled again. So let's not necessarily get ahead of ourselves. But it's Joe Ryan today. We're all loving on Joe Ryan today. First step, stop the skid. We can check that off the to-do list. Second step, why not go out and win 2 in a row? Can you do that, please? We know you can lose 6 in a row. At one point, we knew you could win 13 in a row. Enigma, to say the least. But second step, win 2 in a row. Go out there with Joe. Support him. Put more runs on the board. Get a W tonight. But the third step, how about this? I don't want to get greedy here 9 to noon. But maybe flirt with the idea winning a series.
You homer!
Winning a series. And they could potentially. Meatloaf, a border foe. That's all I'm asking out of the Minnesota Twins. Now, you know, with that in mind, Twins still 10 out of the division. We talked about it yesterday with Lavelle. I think you have the 3 wild card spots, and then you have 5 or 6 teams that are all within 2 games of a wild card spot. So it's muddy, and the Twins are neck deep in the sludge. But getting the win yesterday, it was awesome. And Byron Buxton, you know, and it seems so often with this team where you get caught in the losing, you get caught in the malaise of the injuries and, you know, the yearly conversations. And, you know, I mentioned not necessarily tongue in cheek, ownership situation, all of that. But man, he is running hot right now. And it was awesome. It was awesome to see. So celebrating greatness of the Minnesota Twins as we saw them yesterday against Cincinnati, finding their way through it and getting the win. Now, celebrating greatness on a more national level, we have a Game 7.
Halliburton has it. A 3 from the left edge, right through the middle.
Couldn't come at a better time there. Pacers defense is solid. Got to heat up here a little bit.
That courtesy of Pacers radio. Halliburton gutting it out. And after last night's win, 108-91, it was a thrashing that Indy put on OKC in Indianapolis last night. We get a Game 7 on Sunday. That's what we were rooting for. I know Brett was rooting for it in the NHL Stanley Cup Final. And as you went through that series, it became more clear, more obvious, more settled that the Oilers just couldn't hang with those tidal waves of talent, those tidal waves of skill, line after line after line of eliteness from the Florida Panthers. Back-to-back champs they are through 6. But this one was murkier. And the outcome of last night's game, on the front end, you go into it and you're thinking, I need Halliburton to be 75%. I don't think that there was a milking or that there was any fraudulence or even hard-end gamesmanship in relation. I mean, Halliburton looked awful and barely mobile in Game 5 with this calf thing. So is he going to play? Game time decision. He's warming up. Late afternoon, you hear he's in the mix. He's going to play. He can walk. He's going to go out there. He's going to give it a shot. He did last night. And that was one of several early triples that you saw as Indiana just hit the ground freaking running. Season on the line, obviously. And OKC, I felt like, and we'll chat in more depth with this. I'm excited to hear from Cinny later on, a little preview of In the Zone. I'm excited to hear what he saw from it because I throughout this series, it was short series, OKC in 5. That's obvious. But then you see, truly on the grandest stage, just that depth and that bench production that played into last night's game. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's fine. That's cute. Halliburton hits that sweet shot in game 1. But then OKC just comes back and just dominates them. Okay, that feels a little bit more like we've corrected our course, and that's how it's going to play out. But then Indy gets game 3, and it was bench production, and it was, again, the depth of this team, and specifically defensively, the way that they're able to stifle, what in some cases feels like an unbelievable tandem in Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. And you're kind of getting on Dagnall a bit, like what's going on here through the first 3 or 4 games? Holmgren and Hartenstein, they're never on the court together. You got away from the things that got you to where you are. Gone away from the things that got you to the point where you beat the Wolves, you beat the Howland 5. What are you doing, Dagnall? Comes back to it, gets to the point they win a couple in a row, put us in a spot where the hobbled Halliburton and the Pacers had to make magic last night. And they did.
Kicking to Neesmith, open man in the corner. Nembhard bounces once and hits another 3.
Shot fake, skate, dribble, and the step back for back-to-back 3 balls from Nembhard.
It's that depth. It's guys like Nembhard. It's guys like, let's go to the bench. It's Obi Toppin.
Toppin there, played by Jones. Working the right hand, that got him to the foul line, and from there, he knocks down another one.
Tough Nate Toppin. He's had an incredible game here with the Pacers off the bench.
Yeah, and the player of the game, I think it was T.J. McConnell.
McConnell in the lane, down near the dotted half, and that's where he lives. He's got 10.
Pat, this spin move to that mid-range 10-footer.
Yeah, it was McConnell, unbelievable. If you're just while you're trying to celebrate, if you're trying to celebrate greatness, the way you look at it from McConnell, you can just check the box score last night. You'd be like, okay, McConnell, 12 points, who cares? And you see the 9 boards though, and then you see the 6 dimes, and you see the 4 takes, you see the 4 steals from him. TJ McConnell, absolutely freaking relentless. And needed last night, 24 off the bench. You're able to save, because of the lopsided scoreline, you're able to save Halliburton's leg or legs over the course of that win yesterday. But jumping out specifically, it was Nembhard with early buckets. You did get a couple from Halliburton, Siakam in those moments, but specifically forcing the turnovers last night. 21 turnovers for OKC. Goes back to, if we're revisiting notes from when the How were playing, you were looking at those lopsided turnover differentials. We look at in the NFL, it's the take-give. It's the take-give. Similarly in the NBA, they were on some sort of historic pace. They were like plus 95 in takeaways. They don't turn over the ball a lot, and they are so suffocating defensively, you have no chance. And our team, well, the Wolves like to give it away a little bit. May have cost the Wolves a series. But last night with the Pacers only turning it over twice, I believe, in the entire first half, the 21 total turnovers in the game for OKC, it was kind of disappointing and sloppy play. And that leaves, am I split between Indy feeling the moment, absolutely putting together a masterful performance on the home stage with a chance to bring it back to OKC, force a game 7, still have a chance to win a title. There's that end of it. Again, going back to what was the formula for Indy's wins previously in the series, it was bench production, it was depth. I'm celebrating TJ McConnell and the Obi Toppins. And it was, I think there was a 19-3. I think that was the bench scoring differential at half. Is it the greatness of what Indy did last night, where it was just too much for OKC to handle? Or in some ways, is this big stage lights dimming for the Thunder? There wasn't much there was a moment last night where, Chet's taking an alley-oop that he dunks 100 out of 100 times, and he clanks it, fumbles it right at the doorstep. Lou Dortz How many times has Lou Dort hit those 3 or 4 triples in a game, those freaking arcing moon shots that if we had more banners at Target Center, they might become an obstruction? Sadly, not a lot of banners at Target Center. And Lou Dort had a nice series. But how many times do you see that? He's 1 of 5. Holmgren's 2 of 9. The lack of efficiency there. Jalen Williams was doing his thing. You held Shea down. He got to the line a fair amount. There were a couple of... in every game. And he's an MVP. We love him on our team. But it's classic every night. It's, really? A little push-off. Absolutely hunts for contact. Gets it. Anybody can do it, by the way. He just happens to be the best at it. But across the board, this is a team that shot, and Indiana were certainly not snipers and not masters of efficiency last night. Both teams, I think, shooting low 40s overall. But there was a point they start out. Oklahoma City will not win games, and they will not win Game 7 on Sunday if they put that performance together where they went 8 of 30 from 3. They didn't get to the line. Your big timers aren't shooting efficiently. And defensively, you looked lost at times. In the Wolves series, how in the heck were we going to get to the rim? We were begging Randall to figure out his way, to muscle his way in, and he's backing people down, and then Jalen Williams or Dort or somebody just runs around the back end, snipes the ball, they're headed the other way. We couldn't get in the paint to save our lives. And the strength and the work of a Nesmith, Toppin, again, his work off the bench last night, it was just masterful, as I repeat that term, in terms of what Indy was supposed to do. So is it their performance, or is it OKC falling short, not showing up in the biggest spot? On Sunday, I anticipated it to look much different. And if Indy, there's an aspect to this too. Once the score line, it was 22 at half, I think. And then, third quarter. You want to talk about a clomp fest. Freaking Clydesdale's on the court here. They went 3.5, almost 4 minutes before either team could find a bucket. It was awful to start the third, and then Indy ran away with it. How much of that was OKC taking their ball and going home? At some point, they probably had in their mind, they're putting in their minds, let's close this out on Indy's court. Let's see if we can make Reggie Miller cry. He's JJ, Justin Jefferson, and Pops, I think, in attendance in Indy last night. The stars were out. You thought they didn't care about the Cornfield series. Justin Jefferson. Let's impress JJ. Jets, excuse me. Oof. Did they have in the back of their mind maybe that no matter what happens here, we have a Game 7 in our back pocket, and if we don't take care of them tonight, we'll certainly do it in front of friends and family and the OKC faithful on Sunday. But we have a Game 7 celebrating greatness. It would have been, I've just really been invested. This is part of, again, big markets, and we'll talk a little bit. I found some audio earlier this week of LeBron that I'm going to play at some point, maybe even next segment. And there's interesting commentary from him. I would say maybe a little lack of awareness from the King. But the investment that I have in this series, the reason I've been so locked in and excited about it is because our team is in the mix. Our team was at this doorstep to this party, and we couldn't get into it. The velvet rope, we're trying to get in, closed it up. Sorry, we're at capacity. And that's it for us. Now we're sweating some potential insane Kevin Durant trade, a Durant dilemma for the ages, and how Finch is going to get his squad started. So I'm invested in it, and it would have been a shame for OKC to hoist the Larry O'Brien. Maybe there's some net cutting and some celebrations with a hobbled Halliburton. The fact that he was able to play the way that he did. And to reiterate again, there was no, I think McConnell was the best player at times, most important player. But your highest scoring pacer last night was Obi Toppin. So it's not like Halliburton was lighting it up. And as a matter of fact, just 5 of 12. Didn't do a ton. Didn't provide much in total box score. Again, hobbled Halliburton. But all the same, looked fresh at times, hit some massive buckets, including those 3 triples in the first half. And then you get the Nemhard. You start throwing out the names that you only know when you're wandering aimlessly through the waiver wire of a fantasy basketball league. That's how you get to know the Neesmiths and the Nemhards and the Toppins and the McConnells at times. Man, can TJ will bust out with 12 assists on a Tuesday night, help you win a category. That's how you know TJ McConnell. And now you're seeing how important TJ McConnell is to the mix. And so that's my investment in it. I want a TJ McConnell on my team. Right now we have what at one point could be a TJ McConnell, but he's aging. He's getting older. And the guy behind him is a young rookie who the head coach with PA on Tuesday basically rolled out. I mean, it looked like a Christmas list from Santa with the stuff that he's asking Rob Dillingham to improve on this summer. And hopefully he can cross about half of it off the list. Kid's 19. He's young. He's growing. So that's why I'm invested in this. This is why it's been awesome. So the idea of them fading out the Pacers with a hobbled Halliburton, I wasn't into that. So for him to come back and for him to provide what he did and for the Pacers to do what they did gives us a Sunday night Game 7. Cornfields or not, this has been an awesome series. Can't wait for that on Sunday night. So some fun celebrating greatness from Buxton to the Pacers. Here we are kicking off a Friday. Kind of, again, I frame it up a potpourri-style feast as we get started 9 to noon. And with the TimberTech set list, around 9:35-ish, 9:40, we'll see. Chad Greenway is going to hop in studio for a long segment, catch up with number 5, too, chat some football and things with him. Then at 10 a.m., we have Pete Bursich, budding YouTube star Pete Bursich, analyst, Vikings Radio Network. And we're going to talk about his YouTube channel, what his goals are with it. I'm going to hit his username on YouTube about 1,000 times so we can pump up some followers and support the analyst. But chat football with Pete. And then, as I mentioned, Cindy's going to join in the zone. Probably not going to talk about the Packers, Brett, just so you know.
Wow.
But we're going to jump into this NBA Finals series. And, of course, busy couple of weeks ahead from the NBA draft into free agency. Tim Connolly, the top is spinning. They are on the clock to make some moves. What do? And then at 11 o'clock, celebrating greatness from a local standpoint, Dan Hayes of The Athletic is going to join, and we're going to talk about Buxton. We're going to talk about this baseball team and how irritating it is, but they stopped the skid, and they got a chance with Joe on the mound tonight to make it 2 in a row. That all encompasses the TimberTech set list, which is brought to you by TimberTech.com. Nordo in for PA on a Friday morning. Brett Blakemore by my side, hanging out, having some fun, enjoying the sunshine. It's the Fan. Stay with us.
Bonus Bucks is back on KFAN starting next week. We'll have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday, every hour from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. To learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks presented by BigDeck.com.
Mentioned it during the break. Hey, come on in. Oh, heck yeah. What's up, Chad Greenway? Oh, kids in tow. It's a family affair today. Good morning. Welcome back, 9 to noon. I was going to jump into a hoops-related topic, but I'm just going to talk to one of the best linebackers in the history of Vikings football, Chad Greenway. How you doing, brother?
What up, man? How are you? Yeah, sorry I'm a little late today. This morning, usually I was on at 9, but had some kids duty this morning, so here we are.
Well, and as I said, or have, Father's Day was Sunday.
Yeah. Short-lived.
Back to the grind.
Back on the grind.
You
exactly
had your
right.
day, and then now that day's over, here you go.
Exactly. How about Father's Day? We kind of got lucky, though. The weather was awful, and then we kind of got a little glimpse of some decent weather, and now it's been awesome. So
no,
maybe that broke it.
It's terrific, man. Thanks for bringing the kids in. You got a busy summer, man. Tackling sports. We had track meets like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Like you don't stop.
No, we try not to.
Do you sleep standing up?
Sleep very little. So we had state track last week. That was awesome. The kids did great. Of course, my wife is the head coach over there, which is really cool to watch her do her thing and have the kids have some success. And then,
everything went well.
Everything went great. Couple state champions, couple state champs, couple state records. It was pretty cool. And then, then the oldest is out in Colorado trying to make the U19 national team right now in basketball. So that's going on. That's where the wife is and the youngest. So we're just running around like everybody else.
Oh, that's a party. So it's kind of weird to say this. I do it a bit as a dad. I have 3 kids, 3 girls. Not like yours though. I have twin 10-year-olds and then I got a baby.
Yeah. Yep.
You took care of it more of in a more traditional line of time.
Yes.
But I live vicariously in some ways through my kids when they're playing soccer or they're in gymnastics. And you see their successes and you just, as much as you root for them, like it almost fills you as much as it does them in terms of just watching I mean, do you find yourself kind of living vicariously through your kids a little bit? There's a competitive element to it. There's, setting a goal and then achieving it. Like, do you know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, I think there's also a point where you don't want to be over the top. And I think that's the one thing we've always tried to balance and there's all of us parents out there running around like crazy because kids sports have changed so much since we all grew up and our experience is way different now as adults. And by the way, that's all our fault. We screwed everything up. I'm not sure why we did that, but
correct.
I think I love watching the girls compete and enjoy it and be part of great teams and meet great. And those are basically all of our friends the teammates' parents. So kind of experiencing all that together. And then you get to do a little travel. But you see, like track's a great sport. I think for this example is sport is really good at teaching you how to fail and get back up and take a loss.
Yeah.
And dust yourself off and figure out how you respond to that. And obviously now as adults, you take a lot of losses, you deal with it and move on. And I think that those are the lessons you try to take from it, but also to see them put so much work in and effort in towards something to have some success. That's the part that you can't do it for them. They got to go out there and do it themselves. You got to sometimes watch them fail and watch them go through hard times and sometimes have success.
Yeah, seeing the commitment, the building blocks, the teamwork, there's so many positive parts of that. But it is interesting where the duality of I want to protect my kids from the worst of the world, right?
Yeah. There's that.
But I do want them to take L's.
Mm-hmm. Have to.
Now, small L's that kids can deal with,
right.
L's that might be emotional at times or frustrating, certainly. Mine might be maybe the tablets go away for a few days
right.
if certain things don't get handled. Not asking them to climb a mountain, but wouldn't kill you to make the bed. Wouldn't kill you to do it when I tell you to do it, etc.
100%.
But you want them to feel, because as adults, there's again, the beauty of our lives and the ability to go out and work towards the things that we want to build families and all of that. There are going to be more L's than W's at times as adults.
Yep.
So in some ways, if you can prepare yourself for how to handle those at a younger age, that might set you up for a little more personal responsibility and success down the road.
Yeah, personal responsibility. This is something I talk about all the time. And if I'm out speaking or talking to my own kids and they hear it endlessly and they're annoyed by it. But when I grew up,
as soon as I said that, I saw some grimaces over there. They get
couple eye rolls. Well, the thing is, like, growing up on a farm, it was so unique because everything I did for chores, quote unquote chores, right, was not for myself. It wasn't to like now because I cleaned my room, I can go do this, or because I took the garbage out, I can go run around with my friends, or I can go out in the neighborhood and ride my bike. Like, I had to do chores where, like, okay, I'm going to accomplish this task. I'm not going to get rewarded in any way, really. I'm not going to get money. I'm not going to get anything other than the fact that I get to move on to the next task.
Yeah.
And there's a way you have to do something to do it right, because if you don't do it right, then all of a sudden the farm gets held back. You can't move the cattle because you didn't get the fence fixed, whatever it is. My kids don't do anything for somebody else other than themselves, unless it's my mom or dad telling me, hey, go clean your room, go do this.
Yep.
And so it's like trying to seek out ways to go teach them those lessons without having a farm to go teach it.
Yeah.
And have those things. It's like, okay, you're going to go out and do this because we have to have this done because the farm has to exist and it's a business you're running. So try to find those opportunities, and sport is a great way to do it. It is kind
of an interesting thing, because there's so much where we think about as an individual what we can do, and then that carrot at the end of the stick. And it's cliched, but it's cliched because it's true, instant gratification, all of those things. But there is, do it. And it's specifically within the household, do it for the good of the family.
Right. Exactly.
And you're not necessarily going to reap these terrific benefits from it as a kid, as a contributor, but ultimately you are the cog in that wheel. If that wheel doesn't turn, it's a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
But when it's going smoothly, and then you learn that's the natural way. You contribute. You have to work.
Yep.
And then ultimately, as you get older, then you find some of the successes from that. So that was a Family Dad moment.
Yeah, it was 100%.
Featuring Chad Greenway at Chad Greenway 52. I do appreciate you hanging out here, and I hate to kick it off like this. I saw this, first of all, initially I saw this in ESPN. It's a summertime lists. I don't know how much you dig into this. You don't have any time. You got kid stuff going on all the time.
I have not seen this list you're talking about.
But ESPN had put out an all quarter century NFL team.
Okay.
And position
quarters. 25 years in. Makes sense.
Putting basically by position. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. You did not.
That's not surprising. That will not ruin my Friday.
You did not make the list.
As long as Lieber didn't make it.
But this was something that popped up a bit yesterday, specifically with the running backs. And I guess I'll just hit you with the Vikings. Kevin Williams, Patrick Peterson, Jared Allen.
Yep.
We feel good about those 100%. Names so far.
Yep. We get to claim Patrick Peterson? Is that?
Well, I think
he's probably went in with the Cardinals, I'm assuming, but you kind of just list all the teams. I get it.
Correct. Yeah. He was a member of the Vikings at some point.
Yep. Got it.
And I saw this on X. Steve Hutchinson, yep. HOF, Justin Jefferson already off to a pretty fast start.
Like it.
Randy.
Yeah.
Now, when I was looking at the running back side of things, though, Christian McCaffrey, pretty good when healthy.
How many running backs did they list?
I got a total of 4 in front of me.
So they didn't do like a team. They did like a not a starting 11 offense, defense. It was just like a
few highlights and
got it.
A runner-up type of thing.
Okay, McCaffrey was this listed as like in order of who should be on there first?
No, just names.
Okay.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Nasty.
I mean, just incredible
so
player.
Fun to play against.
Derrick Henry.
Problem. I mean, when that creature turned the corner on me my last year playing, and he was a rookie, I was like, yeah, it's time. I got to get out of this league.
2016.
Absolutely. He was at Tennessee. It was our opening game.
Was that the Sean Hill game? Sadly, Teddy had gotten injured.
We won because I think
Danielle Hunter and Kendricks both had defensive TDs, did they not?
Exactly. Kendricks rookie year. Absolutely.
Man, Kendricks was good. Is he back with the Cowboys now?
Yeah, Eric's just all-timer.
Great dude, right?
All-time instinct guy. I mean, just always knew where the ball was going to be.
They put Priest Holmes on this list.
No.
And Adrian Peterson is not on the list.
Stop it.
It's in front of me. It's on a website.
Who made this list? Who's the author?
Contributing writers, I'm assuming. Let me find
from Espen?
If there's an actual from Espen, yeah.
Wow.
Aaron Schatz and Seth Walder are the two names.
Schatz sounds about right.
Indeed. Adrian not on the list. So initially it was.
So basically the point, so the list is, it's useless. So we can't look at any of the names and say that it's okay.
It's completely invalid. You were left off from a linebacker standpoint.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna put my foot in the ground on that one, but.
Which is preposterous.
What are the linebackers listed?
Let me find them here. I'll do a little drop down. We have, it's Ray.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis.
Got it. I mean, how do you beat that guy out?
Not a bad career. Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, love that pick.
Urlacher.
Yeah, have to.
Levante David.
Yes, I actually love that they went that route because he's an absolute stud.
Luke Kuechly.
Kuechly. Yep, Kuechly. Welcome to the NFL. Have you never
of a shorter career though, right?
Shorter career, but one of those guys that
maybe
had concussion issue. I mean, yeah, he was one of the most instinctive and natural linebackers of all time.
And Derek Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, who are you going to argue with on that list?
Correct.
Ridiculous.
The Priest Holmes thing is
Priest Holmes. What would we need Charch? Where's Charch? Utah. Never mind.
Charch is.
If we had Charch, we could go over some numbers and understand why that happened, and maybe somebody can hit me up on Twitter and tell me why Priest Holmes would be on the list over Adrian Peterson, or why Adrian would be at the top of the list on every list for the first 25 years of the century.
Well, here's what they say, and this is courtesy of Schatz. Holmes is our RB1 over anyone else. Think back to the turn of the century when Holmes emerged from the Baltimore bench to drive the powerful offense.
Can you read that first sentence again?
Holmes is yes, comma. Holmes is our RB1 over anyone else.
That can't be real. This is a goof site.
Look, I can't judge the guy. Are you on
the dark web? Is this a dark website?
No, I don't know how to access the dark web.
I've just heard about it.
I get compensated to say things on the radio, so he gets paid to say. I can't judge anybody. I can't. In the opinion-making business, where this is late June, OTAs and mini camps are over here. We're just trying to get out alive.
It gives no reference to why Adrian was not on the list.
There is no mention of Adrian.
Not a bad poker player, nothing like that. Just
no, not a bad poker player. They didn't mention the Shriners cap and the camel.
Just they're leaving that alone.
Well, that's what, ultimately. So Priest Holmes is on the list. Other running backs might have had longer peaks, but none of them can match the 3-year period that Holmes had from 2001 to 2003.
The 3-year period.
The 3-year period.
How about the 13-year career of one of the best running backs in the history of the NFL?
How about, what did he have, 96 or 97 TDs with the Vikings before ultimately moving on?
This is not even a conversation. We can't waste our time on this.
But that was
quarterbacks. Let me see the quarterbacks.
Quarterbacks, I think it's Brady, Manning, and Mahomes.
Okay. Yeah. How do you argue any of those three?
Well, if in the spirit of Adrian, who was handing it off to him when he went for 296? Brooks Bollinger.
Brooks.
There may have been quarterbacks who had longer peaks, but no one can argue what Brooks Bollinger did in the second half of that November 4th,
sling it.
2007 game.
So I got a little Vikings insight.
Okay.
So I got to spend some time with some of the higher up brass in this organization.
Oh, you were rubbing elbows.
Acting like I've been there before. Golf tournament on Monday, Foundation Golf Tournament. Thanks for everybody for coming out, supporting our foundation. Went very well. We got rained out, so no, but we got about halfway through. We had a surprise visitor at the 9:30 a.m.-ish kickoff.
Okay.
Shotgun start. J.J. McCarthy.
No way.
Didn't know he was going to come. Walks up, part of the Vikings foursome that was there as part of this deal. He dined a country club this year. And so we sell off a couple of footballs signed by JJ. He kind of had a 30-yard little out route he hit, about a 10-yard just stop route over the top. He hit these, the spiral looked tight, very catchable ball, looked confident throwing it, no limp. We're in good shape here.
We're in good shape.
Had a chance to sit with KOC over this last couple of days. And if you ever wondered if our organization, and I don't think anybody has because he's won Coach of the Year and his approach, the way this guy thinks football is just in a private setting is tremendous. And the way they built this roster for what they have is exciting. I'm more excited now than I've ever been about what we have in the next 5 years of football in front of us because of how they've built it and their mentality towards it. There's a true plan long-term and structure where they're not like looking over their shoulder, like, is my job at risk? I got to win now. Like this is something that's going to be built over time for long-term excellence. And I am super fired up after spending some time.
Let me ask you this, because it's not about whenever things are good, we always tend to immediately dump on the past. We had a ton of great moments with Mike Zimmer. We had, you can argue some things, but Rick Spielman had success in his decade and a half, kind of handling the roster and managing personnel here.
Had some great drafts, had some ones we wouldn't take back, but
you love him as much as anybody.
Yeah. Well, paid me a lot of money.
Paid you a lot of money.
What's not to love?
At the least, right? Absolutely. Disclaimers aside, no, but all jokes aside, we had great moments with them. But for me, one of the first things that when I really started to carve in 2022 was a super cool season at the same time. Yeah. So lots to be excited about that first year. But didn't it kind of feel like at a base level, O'Connell, one of the first things he brought in was a platform of stability where things did not, at the end of Zimmer's time, man, it was
wild card.
It was. And wild card in his personality, wild card from a personnel perspective, wild card in terms of outcomes. And it just felt like there was a mode of stability and maybe just some calm.
Yep.
And that's part maybe of the overcorrection and ultimately the hiring of somebody who clearly is a vastly different presence than the former head coach. But that's what I look at it. And now there are wins behind it. the decision making, and all the things that go into him being coach of the year. That's all good, and you got to sit close to it. It sounds like recently. But at a base level, I'm just thinking about like the stability that he's really provided the organization.
Yeah, and I think when you're in it, like with Childress and Frazier and Zimmer, like when you're in it with these guys, the public perception of these coaches and their opinion of the coaches is interesting to hear when you're in the trenches and you're seeing their good and their bad and throughout a day. And like for the most part, 90% of players are gonna be like, no, that's my guy. Because you're in it with them. Like they're taking ownership over mistakes and meetings, and they're the front of the helm, and they're taking a lot of the bullets from the media. And the public perception of them is different, right? And Zimmer, to the media was maybe not as approachable and a little more crass and just like had an edge to him. But to us, like at the same time, like he wanted you to compete and he would love you up just enough to keep you interested and but at the same time hold you accountable. So like you love that about him because like I grew up in that mentality right in the late 90s, early 2000s with my football coach growing up. It's like that's how you did it.
Yeah,
like we're doing bull in the ring like the week of a big game. Like we're getting after each other, and he's a football guy. KOC blends the two in a progressive way where he played the game. He's approachable and he's got your back, but like you can tell these guys work. Like they're accountable to him and he holds them accountable and has a standard, but he just has a different way about him. He's kind of got that, how he approaches a question to the media, how he reflects on it, and then he gives like a more thoughtful answer. I think he's just the way he is. It's just his personality, and you can't run from that because that's who you are. And I think that helps. And I think another thing he does is, because he has playing experience, a lot of these kids coming up, like that resonates with them because like you've been there, you've done it, you've taken some bullets out here, like you've been in the stuff, and it 5-year career. Now he had a 15-year career, made all this money. Like he went through the ups and downs of being cut and released and finding the team and worked his way up. So I think that resonates with kids when you come in and you kind of know the story, and he puts his arm around you and say, "Hey, tomorrow's gonna be better. We're gonna get better tomorrow," and that's how you build, I think, camaraderie with an organization. But this long-term approach of here's why we're doing this. It's not to win the next game, which is the most important thing, yes. But how can we have sustained winning where every year we have a shot to win it? Not just once every 4 years because when we build this team up and then we lose it. We build it and lose it. Like, let's try to have sustained, and they've done a good job already of that. And Zimmer had some really good stretches of that. But now looking out for 5 years, like, every year, can you get in the dance and have a shot to get hot at the right time? Because that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. You feel good about the coach. You feel good about the QB, no doubt about it. You got another shorty in you, or you want to get running?
Yeah. No, I got another shorty in me. Yeah. We can get you on the mic today or what? Huh? What do you think? I think we have to.
Well, let's do this. Let's pause.
Yep.
And then we'll talk her into it.
Yeah.
And we may have a radio debut around the corner. Chad Greenway in studio, kids in tow. It's a Friday feast. Nordo in for PA on the Fan.
If you want to chime into what's happening with your favorite KFAN shows, you can make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. So let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That is 64686. Standard text message and data rate supply.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. It's Nordo in for PA, a Friday feast. Chad Greenway in studio for a short segment. But we may have a special guest because summertime, things are busy, but it's a family affair in studio today. And it features not only young Beckett, of course, state champion in track, just running up the numbers. Family business in play, no doubt about it.
That's right.
But not far behind her, young 10-year-old Blakely,
good
I
call.
believe, is also in studio. So we got 2 of 4. We got half of the Greenway kin in studio. Blakely, welcome to 9 to noon.
Hi.
How are you? How are you doing? I know that there was training this morning. We got a big AAU basketball game today. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What are there positions at your age yet? Are you a guard? Are you playing inside? How does that work with your team?
I'm playing point guard mostly.
Okay.
But if I'm not playing point guard, I'm mainly on like the wing.
Okay. So Greenway likes to be in charge of things, likes to distribute, likes to handle the offense, no doubt about it.
Yep.
And would you consider yourself, as a point guard, do you feel like you are a shoot first or a pass first guard?
Be
Shoot
honest.
first.
There you go.
First.
That's right.
That is awesome. Now, Dad's in charge today. And do you prefer when Dad's getting you to the sporting events or when Mom's getting you to the sporting events?
Dad.
Oh, okay. I expected a different answer.
No, locked in.
Dad's on time. Dad keeps the schedule going.
I'm also her coach, so that helps.
You kind of have to be there, don't you? Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today and allowing Dad to come on the radio with me. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Oh, that's awesome. Blakely on the radio, a 9 to noon debut. So I guess kind of just as we put a wrap on this thing, I'm going to talk to, Pete Bursich well around the corner.
God, he's good.
You got a lot going on with Grey Duck. Well, he's going to become a budding YouTube star. Yeah,
I didn't know this.
He's starting his channel. He's going to be doing videos and analysis and bits. So,
I love that.
So we're pumping it up. I got 5'2" now, 5'6" around the corner in Pete Bursich.
What's the concept there? Is just to be kind of just to teach like football, like education, like.
Yeah, see the world through the eyes of Pete Bursich.
I love that.
So it's the All-22, then it's Pete on the inset. He's got his own studio going. There might be guitar riffs in between.
It might get a little random with Pete. I love it.
It's very eclectic.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite things with Pete, by the way, is you can throw anything at him. He's either got an opinion on it or some level of experience with it.
Yeah, interesting tidbit. Pete Bursich and my wife grew up in the same town.
Really?
Joliet, Illinois. That's right.
And were they both, is it Joliet Catholic?
Jenny went to public school. She's a public school kid, Joliet Township. And Pete went to Providence, I think, or JCA.
I
Joliet
think
Catholic?
he went to Joliet Catholic.
He went to Providence or Joliet Catholic, one of the two.
But then he found his way. He was a
rich kid.
He was a Golden Domer.
Yep,
the whole thing.
He found his way in a pretty good spot. Yeah, he is. Pete, he does not get enough credit. Maybe he does, but in those circles, but he does not get enough credit in my mind on the color to work with the creature every Sunday and
cartoon.
Yes, the cartoon. Pete, they just have that vibe, the timing. It's so good. I love listening to them call a game. He
does a great job. What I was going to go with, and you mentioned it briefly last segment, is kind of this lull that we're in. Mm-hmm. And there's not. I was going to hit you if we had more time and had gone in a different direction. Tracy Porter entering the Saints Hall of Fame. I saw that news come out. Didn't know maybe, if you weren't going to be able to make it today. Initially, I thought it was because you wanted to be down there to help celebrate with Tracy Porter.
I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, 4 years down in New Orleans gets you into the Saints Ring of Honor.
You get one interception, though.
Yeah,
one that changed the course of the entire season for them.
Well, they didn't even mention that one, though. It was all about the Super Bowl and the pick six and closing the door on Peyton and the Colts. They didn't mention the one that shocked the world.
That was the one that really put him on the stage.
This was indeed not Detroit.
Just throw it out of bounds. Just throw it out of bounds. Throw it to round. Just throw it to row 3. No!
How do you ponder passing there? But the excitement and the lull for J.J. McCarthy, kind of entering the unknown. You meet him, he's super engaging, and there's an intelligence to the way that he speaks of the game, kind of an understanding of his own game and where he fits into it. So all the right things are being said, but in the end, you got to see it. You got to see it on the field, right? Yep. And that's kind of where I'm at with this lull is. And it happens every year. You get into a spot where you're looking forward to training camp. Brett and I were talking about that yesterday, but the excitement around J.J. McCarthy is building. It's nearly boiling, and I'm pumped for it.
Yeah, I think you're kind of in that mode. It's like, hey, just enjoy the summer. Football's coming. The smell in the air will change about that, mid-August, and all of a sudden it's football season and games will start coming. And with J.J., I mean, again, the way they built the roster is going to afford him to grow up in this offense. Where he does not have to do everything. We can hand the ball off. We have a good running back, and we have a running game. We have a really good offensive line that can keep him upright, and our weapons are as good as anybody's in the league. So you can let him grow up in this organization over the next year, 2 years, where you're not going to say, hey, JJ, you have to play this way or we don't win. And think about Brady and all of his Super Bowls and all of his success. How many times did Brady hand the ball off 30 times and get a W?
Yeah.
And yes, when he had to have it as he aged up and got really, really good in those tight spots, in those got-to-have-it playoff games, and those got-to-have-it get into playoff week 17 games, you show up and you make that throw when you have to make it. So, but when you're rushed and sped up to get there, and you don't have an offensive line that can keep you upright, that is where a young quarterback takes a hard L. And we are just set up for him to be able to, I think the best way to put it is to grow up over the next 2 or 3 years. And I don't mean that in a demeaning way. I mean that as that's how you build a successful organization for long term, in my opinion.
If Brett was here, he would say, pieces are in place.
The pieces are in place, my friend.
Thanks for hanging out. Great guest today in Blake Lively. Blake Greenway. Blakely Greenway,
Yep.
excuse me. Let me say a name correctly. Bringing Dad into the mix. Good luck at the games today, AAU style. Grey Duck, everything's good with Grey Duck?
Everything's good, man. Yeah, we're chugging right along. Summer's obviously super busy. Grey Duck deck, now the Twins are on a lull again. Get out there. You know, I think when the Grey Duck deck is full in left field, the Twins tend to win. So get out there. Go check it out. Check out our new Bomba Pack, which is all over stores now, which is sweet. That is our Bomba Juice, our top flavor. Now we have 3 of those flavors in there, so it is a go-getter.
At Chad Greenway 5-2 via X, weekly guest 9 to noon, courtesy of Grey Duck. Bursich around the corner. It is Nordo in for PA on the Fan.